Today I wanted to talk about mistakes. Now, being 22 years old, I've made a fair few of them in my lifetime, so I feel like I'm semi-qualified to have a conversation about this. I have a question to people who are watching this video and ask if you could comment and let me know what is something that you learned from not a mistake you made yourself, but from somebody else's mistake. What life lesson did you learn from somebody else making a mistake instead of you? Whether it's a mistake made by you or by somebody else, the reality is that mistakes cost you. You might not realize it, but they do. They cost time, money, opportunity. You can make a mistake without realizing the fact that it can change your life. Sometimes not in the best of ways. It can be life-altering opportunities that could have been taken, but because of a mistake, that's not the case anymore. Now, when we think of other people's mistakes, we view it from a different perspective, as we do because that person that made the mistake, we're not them. And I feel like there's a level of ego behind this. Again, not everybody, but some people, you might be one of them, and you might know somebody who will go, nah, I never do that. I never make that mistake. That's ego talking. Because you don't know. You don't know if the thing that that person did, the mistake that they made, isn't something that you would do given similar, if not exactly the same circumstance. We happen to have a dilemma where we ignore the mistake of others. And it's because, well, some people, they lack reflection. Because if you can't understand the mistake that somebody else made and take something from that and reflect onto yourself, in a hypothetical sense, that if you were thrust into that situation or something like that similarly happened to you, would you not make the same mistake? And again, with seeing this from a different perspective, when it comes to making a mistake because of taking a risk, we have the nasty habit of thinking that that would never happen because we don't calculate the risk if it happens to somebody else, and we don't understand that mistakes and whatnot can happen because risks are taken, but we don't understand the consequences of that unless it's us. Only until we ourselves experience this and the consequences and the mistakes that follow do we actually grasp the mistakes and the consequences that somebody else has made. It's not an impossible task to learn from other people's mistakes. And the best ways to do that is to ask questions. If somebody you know has made a mistake, you can ask them, how did you make that mistake? Why did you do that? Not overly personal questions, but questions that will help you understand the reason why this happened, and that if this ever happened to you, you can take steps to avoid it. As well as, if you have the opportunity, you can observe people's actions and then the consequences that follow. Because whatever consequences, whatever mistakes that have happened, there's always an action following whatever happens. There's an action which leads to a consequence, to a mistake. They don't just appear out of thin air. If something does happen, if a mistake is made, it's an action that precedes that, which then leads to this mistake. So if you are able to observe other people's actions and understand the mistakes that they might make, or will make, or did make, that'll be easier for you to understand that if similar things happen to you, you'll be able to deal with it. There are many things that we learn, mistakes that happen to us, that we learn far too late. And there are three ones in particular that I can think of. One is opportunities. If you have the opportunity to do something and you don't jump on it. Now, I'm not saying don't jump on it immediately without taking into consideration what might happen. But if you are given an opportunity to do something, you've read it, you've seen the details, and it's something that you really want, and you didn't take that step, you didn't take that leap of faith to do something, later on in your life, it will not torment you, but it will be something in the back of your head that you'll think, man, when I was 25 years old, I wish I did this. It would have been amazing. Something great would have probably happened. Now, it's all hypothetical because you didn't do it. It's a mistake. But if you have the opportunity, go for it. The second one is finance. I've watched many videos of different channels like the Financial Audit and whatnot, people making financial mistakes. Now, some of these are financial mistakes that you can say you never do that until you're given the opportunity, and you might do it, but they're mistakes that a lot of people make, be it buying the newest thing without taking into consideration student debt, credit card debt, going into any kind of debt whatsoever with a house, a car, anything. It's something that you think, I would never go into debt because I understand money and all that kind of stuff. But until you are given the situation that these people are in, you might do the same as them. So if you don't understand finance, the internet is a very accessible thing for you to do. It's at the tip of your fingers with a phone. So if that's something that you don't understand and something that will hopefully help you avoid that mistake, do some research. And the third is the most important thing to anybody, our health. Now, as a man, this is something that we do a lot, where we will get sick, get injured, have something happen to us, and we will just brush it off our shoulder. Think, I'll be okay, it's not that much of a bother. But later on in our life, it will bite us in the ass so bad. I'm not saying men are the only ones that that do this, women do it too. But it's just your mindset of it. Thinking that something so small and insignificant won't affect me later on in life until it does. We don't do regular check-ins, we don't go in, feel a little click in our back and just go and check it out just in case. Yes, it will cost money. Yes, some things might be expensive. But it's your health. It's important. If you want to live a long life, get married, have kids, have grandkids, your health is the most important thing to you. And it's something that you should take care of. And finally, to end this off, I'll say this. Mistakes, much like a lot of things, are inevitable. You will, at one point, or many points in your life, make mistakes. But it's the mistakes that you make, unnecessary mistakes, mistakes that you only after doing realize the gravity of them, that are optional. You can choose to make this mistake. You can think about it, you can contemplate over it, and you can realize that you can change that. Mistakes, everybody makes them, but it's what you do afterwards that determines the outcome. But yeah, that's about it. I hope whoever's watching this took something out of it.